So the Chinese president is taking a stroll near the Indian border. What's his message to India? Because this is clearly more than inspecting a train. The new helmsman does not bother with such trivial things. So how must New Delhi perceive this rare visit? With China, you see, things are never direct. They're masters of the long game. So is this bravado genuine or just another reel for the propaganda film? There are some clues in history. Mao Zedong talked about the 5 fingers of Tibet: Ladakh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh. 5 fingers, and he said that Tibet was the palm and that these territories were the 5 fingers. You'll notice that China does not control these regions. 2 of them are sovereign nations, the other 3 are Indian territories. But when has that ever stopped Beijing? Mao Zedong believed that it was China's duty to liberate these regions, in other words, annex them. He couldn't. Can Xi Jinping do what Mao could not? We can say one thing for sure. The Chinese president has been seduced by this prospect. He wants to one-up China's founding father, do better than Mao. So to answer the first question, yes, these pictures are for the propaganda reel, but the bravado is still genuine. Beijing wants to keep this border active. Their adventurism in Ladakh, you see, backfired last year. So this time, they're preparing harder. We've seen evidence of this already. Tibetan youngsters are being lured into the PLA. China is banking on local knowledge, something that they lacked in the Galwan Valley. That's part 1 of the operation, recruitment. The second part is to upgrade infrastructure. China is building a series of villages along the border. Nearly 628 of them have been constructed, 628 villages along the border with India. We say villages, but these are actually defense posts. And China's plan is to dot the border with them. So here's another question. Is China showing off or is it preparing for action? A lot depends on this city. Opposite Arunachal Pradesh, it's called Ningchi. It's a military base protected by S-400 missiles, no less. China is bolstering this outpost. If push comes to shove, this could be the staging ground for PLA troops. The new railway line here is no coincidence. It's not about connectivity, it's about transporting troops. So from a military standpoint, China is bulking up. What about the politics? China does not recognize the McMahon Line. This is the British-era border that demarcates Tibet and India's Assam. It forms the northern border of Arunachal Pradesh. China does not accept this. It claims Arunachal Pradesh as South Tibet. When Indian leaders visit the state, China starts hyperventilating. In 2009, when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh visited Arunachal Pradesh, China raised grave concerns, quote unquote. In 2019, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the state. He announced a series of development projects. China said, don't escalate the border situation. And when the Dalai Lama visited the region, China cried of serious damage to bilateral relations. Basically, China's message is this: stay away from Arunachal Pradesh. But that's not Beijing's call to make. We're talking about an integral part of India, a full-fledged state of the Indian Union. Plus, what moral ground does China have? They regularly build barracks and villages on disputed land, and when there is a backlash, they turn around and say, we've not agreed on this border. And that's a very convenient argument. The fact is that China has no interest in settling the border dispute. It wants the whole of Arunachal Pradesh. So how must India respond to this? We're talking about extreme landscapes here. So the first priority must be infrastructure. Roads, railway lines, military bases, keeping up with the Chinese build-up. This came to India's advantage, remember, in the Galwan Valley. The Chinese soldiers were grossly underprepared, both for the terrain and for the fight. It's important to keep that edge across the border. As for Xi Jinping's visit, India must read between the lines. Beijing may have tamed Tibet, but the people of Tibet, they've never embraced China. So what does Xi do? Whitewash discontent with communism, stamp out Tibetan Buddhism, and sinicize the community. He wants to consolidate the palm before clenching the fist. India should understand the challenge and prepare to deal with it. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.